He slammed the eviction notice on my truck windshield like he owned the road. "You can't park here anymore. HOA rules." His voice had that fake calm, the kind that hides venom. I looked him dead in the eyes and said nothing. Just kept tightening the bolt on my ladder rack. I wasn't about to explain myself to a man who didn't even know whose land he was standing on. 3 days earlier, I had moved into the old farmhouse, the one my dad left me before he passed. 5 acres, no mortgage, and a busted fence I promised myself I'd fix by Sunday. But this guy, gray polo tucked too tight into his khakis, showed up the moment I started painting the porch. Said something about community standards. I ignored him. That was mistake number 1. By Friday, someone had spray-painted trash across my garage door. My tools were scattered. A notice stapled to the gate said I owed $700 in appearance violation fines. I laughed out loud. No HOA had jurisdiction out here. The nearest neighborhood was 2 miles down the hill, but I didn't laugh long, because when I checked the signature, it wasn't from any board. It was from her, Marlene, HOA president from Oak Ridge Heights, blonde bob haircut. Drives a silver Lexus with a license plate that says Queen Bee. I'd seen her at the gas station, once arguing with the cashier because the receipt paper was too faded. Now she thought she could rule over land that wasn't even in her community. My land. That night I found a drone buzzing over my house, watching. I waved at it. The drone dipped, then flew away. The next morning, 2 officers showed up, said they got a complaint about illegal renovations, unsafe conditions, and, get this, possible squatting. One of them asked for my ID like I was a criminal. That was her plan, make it look like I didn't belong on my own property. But the moment the cop asked, I smiled for the first time in days. Because what Marlene didn't know was, I wasn't just some guy fixing up an old house. I pulled out my badge and handed him his captain's number. He stepped back when he saw the badge, read the name twice, then looked at me like he'd just realized the floor beneath him wasn't real. The younger cop shifted uncomfortably. "Sorry, sir, we didn't know." "You weren't supposed to know," I cut in, "but now that you're here, might as well hear the full report." I walked them both around the property, showed them the drone footage I'd recorded the night before. My security system logs everything. We watched it together on my tablet. There it was, plain as daylight. A drone circling my house like a vulture, hovering over my workshop, even zooming in on the toolbox in my truck bed. "That's harassment," I said calmly. That drone was traced back to a homeowner in Oak Ridge Heights. They both went quiet. I could tell they were processing what I already knew. Marlene wasn't just pushing fake rules. She was spying, faking documents, sending false complaints, and trying to get me thrown off my own land. All because my house didn't fit her HOA's picture-perfect image. "She's been stepping out of her boundary for years," the older cop finally said. "But this is different." Different was right, because I wasn't just any homeowner. I'd spent 17 years in military intelligence. Disguises, deception, counter-surveillance, I'd taught courses on all of it. I could spot a hidden camera through a window glare. I could follow a money trail through 5 shell companies. And I could tell when someone was trying to push a man into snapping, just so they could call the law and say he was the threat. But she'd picked the wrong man, because I don't lose my temper. I build my case. So I leaned in and said, "You'll want to take a look at the signatures on those fines. I've got handwriting matches, timestamps, and a notarized deed that proves I own every inch of this land. Legally. Clean." The older cop's eyes narrowed. "If she forged HOA documents, impersonated an officer, that's jail time." "I know," I said. "And she doesn't even see it coming." Because the drone wasn't the only thing recording. There were 3 hidden cameras planted on my property. One caught her climbing the fence, another caught her sticking the fake notice on my door, and the third showed her handing $200 cash to a man in a reflective vest, who later claimed to be from code enforcement. He wasn't, but I knew exactly who he was, and soon, so would the court. Monday morning came quiet. Too quiet. No drone, no notices, no new threats, but I knew silence like that didn't mean peace, and it meant something was brewing. At exactly 10:14 a.m., A white, unmarked van pulled up to the edge of my property. Two men stepped out. No logos, no clipboards, just that stiff, government-style walk. I watched from my porch as one of them pulled out a measuring wheel and started pacing along the gravel edge of my driveway. I didn't interrupt. Not yet. 5 minutes in, one of them finally approached the gate. No greeting. Just, "We're conducting a land reassessment for municipal compliance." I almost laughed. Land reassessment? This was her next move. Try to tie me up in red tape. Drag me into zoning battles, code violations, technical nonsense most people would panic over. But I wasn't most people. "Where's your documentation?" I asked. The taller one hesitated. "It's internal use." "No, it's not." I cut him off. "You're required by law to provide written notice 72 hours before stepping foot on private land. This is trespassing." He looked back at the other guy, who suddenly seemed less sure of himself. "Here's what you don't know," I added, stepping closer. "This entire property is registered under the Veteran Land Restoration Act. That means any unauthorized intrusion is not only a violation of privacy, Tong, it's a federal offense." He blinked. "You're military?" I didn't answer. Didn't have to. He backed up. The van left. But 5 minutes later, I got a text from a blocked number. "You're making this harder than it has to be." No name. No signature. I didn't need one. That was her. That night I drove to the Oak Ridge Heights HOA building. Not to confront her. Not yet. I had something better. I dropped off a sealed envelope addressed to Community Oversight Committee. Inside, full footage, timestamps, witness statements, and copies of every forged document she left on my gate. And one final page. A legal letter from my attorney. The subject line? Formal complaint of HOA abuse, harassment, and impersonation of government authority. It wasn't just about her anymore. I'd uncovered something deeper. Because when I went digging through land registry files, I found something strange. 5 other properties, all just outside HOA limits, had been mysteriously pulled into compliance zones over the last 18 months, all of them under Marlene's watch. And the craziest part? 2 of those owners had disappeared, no forwarding address, no sale record, nothing, just gone.